Okay, we are live here again, season four. Oh, wait, okay, season four, Your Bold Voice. We got some double trouble going on here. We're going to, I'm already laughing. We haven't even started yet. I am so excited to have Wendy here with me today. But before we jump into Wendy and the show is, as you are all getting logged in here to this LinkedIn Live, don't forget, Wendy and I do not know that you are here unless you put a comment in the thread here. Even if it's just a hey, hello, just to let us know you are here. If we don't respond to you, just know we are not ignoring you. We are here to focus in on delivering this content. And I, as a host, am here to focus in on my guest and what we are talking about today. But welcome back, season four. Today was supposed to be the last episode. We were supposed to wrap up the season, Wendy, with you today, but we had some technology issues a couple shows back. So there'll be one more show next week. We're doing a repeat next week, and then I'm wrapping the season up. There will be no more seasonal weekly LinkedIn lives of Your Bold Voice. I'm doing something completely different for season five. So you're all going to have
Ooh,
to stay tuned to see what
okay.
that is going to look like. I love mixing it up. And anyways, before moving forward, please welcome, welcome back Your Bold Voice. This is all about the feminine female really taking risks and claiming their bold voice and embracing their success on their terms. And I can now add to that, we've had a few phenomenal great men on here as well, which I'm tickled pink about. But before diving in, like I had said, I have two two spots open for the end of April, since now we are at the end of March. Woo woo, Wendy, you and I in Michigan here. Where's that spring? Or that spring? Woo.
My
I have
crocuses
two
are
spots.
blooming.
I have two
Mm.
spots open for my one-on-one coaching for really embracing your bold and authentic voice and selling. So if you are interested in overcoming all this selling stuff and all the stuff that goes off in your head, and you really want high leveraging profits, please reach out in a LinkedIn private message to me. But let's get started here. Wendy. Oh gosh, Wendy, we get each other twice today.
Yes, we do. I know. I
Oh,
know.
that just hit me. We are going to have dinner tonight too.
Hmm.
Wendy, with 20 plus years of entrepreneurial networking experience, Wendy Caverly brings her focused knowledge in an emerging coaching specialty to
Hmm.
professionals looking to learn how to effectively connect and build meaningful relationships for a solid foundation for success. Wendy excels at coaching individuals on what makes connecting or networking a
Hmm.
valuable skill separate from selling and marketing. Her style of coaching new information is personable, friendly, and often humorous. I can testify to that as well. She encouraged clients to view networking as an adventure, something
Hmm.
to enjoy, transforming a neglected but needed activity into a skill set that will feel like an art form. Let me just lay this down right here and now.
Okay.
Wendy is the queen of freaking networking, and we are going to learn today that networking is just not something we go, "Oh, networking. Why do we need networking? Why do we need a coach for networking?" Wendy is going to share with us why we need to network,
Right.
even if you are not an entrepreneur, even in corporate, and if you're working with organizations for both. So, welcome, Wendy. I'm really excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely no pressure now. So, yes.
No pressure at all. I want to know. Let's start with your story. And again, as everyone's logging in and jumping in, I see a few people saying hi. We're not ignoring you. How did you evolve into this networking? Because I don't know this. I don't know how you
Right.
have evolved into this.
So, well, let's see. We're not going to start with I was born in a log cabin type of thing, but you do know that who you are does build with all of the experiences that you had over time. So that's why my profile says 20 plus years of entrepreneurial and networking experience. But what brought me to a dedicated focus that I have now is I've actually been a facilitator of business meetings for since 2014. So I've been living in this the farming networking type of world where that repetitiveness and the building the relationship aspect. And but I like the rest of the world was forever changed by the pandemic. And luckily for me, it was a positive change. So when the lockdowns were announced, I had already prepared for a digital environment because I knew I would have some clients that were uncomfortable, right? And I didn't want them to feel excluded or cut out. So we got pushed into this digital world, and here's I still tear up when I think about it. I had a client not too long ago tell me that when the world shut down, Wendy picked up her shield and charged forward.
Mm.
And I started offering weekly offerings and workshops and webinars, and we started talking about you're connected, so your business is not going to fail. We're going to lean into that net that's holding us all up. We're making plans while your competition is waiting for permission. You're going to make a plan, so when the lights do come back on, you're already in motion. And I had associates say, you need to start putting that out there on LinkedIn. People need to see it. So summer of 2020, I made this video about farming my business. And I used my own vegetable garden, and I'm like, this is a seed. I planted the seed, but I didn't just walk away. I gave it water, I gave it sun, I nurtured it. And now I have a bountiful harvest that comes from it. And this is what I can help you do with your own business, is create that bountiful harvest that comes from sincere connection. And a gentleman on LinkedIn saw that video and requested an appointment with me because he thought I was a sales coach. And he was the national sales director for a company trying to find ways to basically empower their sales professionals to overcome a 65% hit from what was going on. And I realized not everybody knows how to do what I do, that it's not a default for people. And when things are good, it's something that people can set aside. You know what? I don't need to network. I'm making bank. I don't need to network. There's another door to knock on. There's another expo to go to. But when things shift, it's the network you lean on. And that is where the longevity of success comes from. I mean, one of my favorite jokes is, you're accepting your Human of the Year award. The person accepting that award doesn't stand up there and say, I did it all by myself. No, you're like, you helped me, you helped me, you helped me. So how do you get to know those people?
That is a very valid well, there's a lot of valid points there, what you just said, but that very last one of standing up there and going, hello, thank you very much, I did this all by myself, that's your hag in the attic. That's the inner critic choking you down. Because no, we do need to have those relationships, those networks, those strategic referral partners, the groups where we sit in and, hey, you're a couple steps ahead of me in your journey of entrepreneurship. I need some support here, or do you have any suggestions? Those, you need those groups to be able to go to and ask. And you're right. A few years ago, we all were. I mean, there was online, but we all went 100% online. And it still comes back to, how do you network online? How do you speak online? How's your visibility going? Because we're coming out of that 100% of being online. We're going into hybrid. I mean, now that the world has been taught, well, yes, we did do business online. How do we integrate both in person and online? You're going to see a lot of that. So we need to keep these skills. So how do we network? Why network? I mean,
Why network?
I know why to network,
right.
But how do we network?
Right. Well, first, you need to define what networking is, and that is actually probably one of the greatest challenges that I have. Is people think it's an offshoot or part of selling, when and to the people out there right now who are saying in their head, networking is selling, we can argue later. You can have a conversation with someone without asking them for money. So selling is an agreed upon amount of money for a good or service, right? That's not networking. And marketing is similar. It's the act of promoting or advertising a product to sell. Networking is defined as connecting. It's about building professional and social circles for growth. And that is what networking is. It's those opportunities to grow yourself and your community. And the thing that I don't talk about often right off the bat, but it's an amazing skill because you get to be completely selfish while being unselfish.
Mhm.
I can help you because it's going to come back to me in some form of great value. I want to connect with you because now you're going to be a resource that's going to make me invaluable to my customers. My customers might spend a little bit more on my product or service, but they know they can count on me when their chips are down. So the value of being networked, of being connected, of making conversations early on about what makes you amazing comes back to you tenfold. And as for the hybrid world, the digital world, I call this the digital world. I don't like the word virtual. Virtual reality is artificial. This is not artificial. This is real.
Mhm.
This is happening in real time. And so I don't treat it any differently than if I was actually in the room with a person. We just have different backdrops.
You know, it's so simplistic, but yet our brains make it so complicated, which, you know, welcome to the brain of a human being. We make things so complex and complicated. You know, here's one of the things I just heard, and you are stellar at that. When I'm in a room with you, I'm like, oh, I better sit up. I got to get my, and quote unquote, my elevator pitch. And I don't like calling it an elevator pitch, but for time and words and stuff like that. The introduction of yourself. Yeah, this is now where you get to be selfish and talk about yourself, but yet you're being unselfish. That introduction is flipping key. Whether you are in a room here online, whether you're in a room in person, whether you work for Ford Motor Company, whether you work for Kim Boudreaux Smith, her bold voice, whatever, that introduction is insanely so important, and you're good at that. I mean, like I said, I've been on calls where it's like, oh, Wendy's here. I have got to really step my game on up, but which I like that. You know, I like it. So let's talk about that introduction, because that is part of the networking. And then after we talk a little bit about that, I want to swing back around to how networking and sales, they are separate. And I really don't like being around people where you're walking into a room and it's like, hi, my name is Kim Boudreaux Smith. Hi, Wendy, nice to meet you. I've got a dollar sign on you. That is not networking. So let's tackle the introduction.
Okay. So yes, see, now the important thing to remember when you practice or invest time into creating this great self-introduction is you want to build one that's customizable. I actually talk about creating Lego pieces. So you've pre-planned three ways to say this, 3 ways to say that, 3 ways to say that, and then you can plug and play those pieces depending on your environment. Because I get asked questions a lot. What's the right question to ask? There is no right question because the variables are unmeasurable. The goal is to be prepared and confident to introduce yourself regardless of the changes in the room. And the other thing for people to remember is it isn't a sales pitch. The goal is not to make a sale or close a deal. It's to start a conversation the first time. This is not the last time. It is the first time. So your self-introduction should inform them of who you are, the value that you bring, the people that you are looking to help, and how you are open to talking with them again. And then you can get to that next conversation and add a little bit more to it. So, and I think that's where a lot of people get uncomfortable. I mean, 84% of people don't care for networking or just downright don't like it, right? Like there's like 32% would rather go to the dentist. And I just find that fascinating. It's because they don't want to go to an event where they spend 2 hours being sales pitched to.
Well, you know something, I'm that person. I love networking, and I also love going to my dentist, believe it or not. I don't know what it is about that. But anyways, I like that. But the only thing I don't like is what you just said. I don't like being pitched and sold to. It's like, yeah, you know, come on already. Just tell me who you are, tell me what you do, because my antennas are starting to perk up. It's not just for something that down the road I may need for myself, but my arena, my strategic referrals, and how can we
Mhm.
partnership? And well, let's just start that conversation. So before we go into separating the networking and the sales, I'm going to put you on the spot,
Okay.
but I know you can handle it.
Okay.
Give us your introduction. I love it.
Oh, damn it. Oh, oh, okay. All right. So I'm Wendy Caverly, and I'm the coach and founder of Crusaders Networking. And did you know that networking is the sincere skill of connecting with multiple goals in mind? If you are looking to create or maintain a relationship, I'm the coach for you. If you're looking for ways to spot new opportunities when you're out and about in your life, I'm the coach for you. If you are someone who needs someone to help you create a plan so you can measure and celebrate your successes so you don't quit and have to start all over again, I'm the coach for you. And if you are looking for that way to meet those mentors who are going to bring you up and take you to the bigger rooms, I'm the coach for you. Why? Because all four of those goals are under the skill of networking, which is creating sincere connection. I am Wendy Caverly, Crusaders Networking, and I am here to inspire connection.
I know part of my coaching is speaking, and those introductions are important. That was absolutely beautiful. So I just want to reiterate to everybody that is listening or even goes into a replay. Wendy introduced herself.
Mhm.
She went into pain points of people for networking, but she put the pain points in questions, which I loved. She answered the questions in her introduction of how she was going to help you overcome those pain points, struggles, challenges, whatever word you want to use to that.
Mhm.
And then she also provided what her service is, and title and everything. Amanda's on here. Amanda, we're going to see you for dinner tonight too. And even said amazing. I said, I know it is amazing. All of us need these amaze balls introductions. And by the way,
Mhm.
we don't go to bed tonight, not to minimize this, and wake up tomorrow morning and have the most amaze balls introduction. It
Yes.
takes role playing, it takes some practice. And I love the fact that you say plug and play, which I plug and play. It's like I'm pulling
Mhm.
up going into an event. Well, this is pre-COVID. I pull up before going into an event and going, who's going to be here today? Okay. My introduction, always at the end of the introduction, the ball is the same. I
Yeah.
will plug and play depending upon the audience. And it's practice makes confidence and strengthens
Yes.
confidence. So yes, you pulled in all the pieces that was outstanding. And at the end, you even closed it up with reiterating who you are again with the name of your business. Loved it. Outstanding.
Always start and end every introduction with your name and the name of your business. It's amazing how many professionals forget to do that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And I just want to add before we move on, one of the beautiful advantages to creating that plug and play is you can say the same thing over and over again in multiple ways. So you don't feel like you're being repetitive or boring. That is something that I hear from a lot of people. I say the same thing over and over again. I'm being boring. No, you are guaranteeing that when we think of you, we think of that. You are not being boring or repetitive. But if you want to feel like you're mixing it up, there's ways we can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
I agree with you. Absolutely. And when we start going into that boring inner critic, hegniatic,
Mhm.
that's us, because we can say something 7 times before it'll really land with some people. And you are not boring. We don't get boring, but that we need to turn in and really answer what's going on there. All right. How do we separate? Oh my God, sales and networking, selling and networking. Oh my Lord.
Yes. Okay, well, the first thing that I actually encourage people is how can you know what product or service you have for that person if you don't even know what they need,
Mm.
right? So have that conversation with the intention of actively listening for who they are, what do they do, how do they do it, and how you might be a fit for whatever it is. And maybe the fit right away isn't that you need to hire me. The fit could be I have someone in my network that needs you. So I'm going to introduce the two of you to each other because now the person in my network sees the value of continuing to be connected to me. And you just saw the value of being connected to me as well. So I think that's the big part is, yes, when you are networking, you are there with the intent of growing your business. But it is possible to do more than one thing at a time. I don't recommend people add more hours to their work week. They add more effectiveness to the time they are spending. So while you are listening to qualify a client, while you are listening to see what product or service this person would buy, while you are listening for how much money you might be able to make off of them and how you're going to get to go on that vacation, finally, you are also networking with them by creating the value by exploring their network, because maybe that person in front of you, not your customer. They're not your customer. So a salesperson in a sales mindset would look at that person and say, thank you for your time. A networker is going to look at that person and say, but who do they know that I need to know? This person's a doorway. That's the biggest difference between the mindset of someone who is networking, creating sincere connection, and someone who is hunting for a sale.
Well, I totally agree with those sincere connections. And every human being that I meet, whether it's on a post on LinkedIn or whether it's the good old fashioned in-person networking or whether it's networking here online, is every person to me is a doorway. Every person is a relationship to me.
100%.
Whether we meet and I don't talk to you again for another year, and we picked up right where we left off. It's a connection, sincere relationship for me. And with that being said, because I'm the other part of my business is I teach women how to really authentically, boldly own their sales voice. Is if you are hunting for flipping anything, I will go back to a comment my husband likes to remind me of because he's in sales here behind closed doors. When you are hunting, you are desperate, and desperate people do desperate things, and you don't want to be in that desperate mindset. And you know what? And I have not been in that situation, but I've been in situations
I have.
where people, where people are portraying that and puking that and projecting that. I'm out because I know that this is doing this to me. Check box, $sign. No, if you're not. No, check box, dollar, out. I will not even go near that person again. And that doesn't mean people can't change. I don't want to think that I'm dead end here. But just remember those first impressions really freaking linger.
You know what's interesting is, and yet I would argue from a relationship standpoint, the last impression is more important. Yeah, it's you must give me a reason to pick up the phone or answer that email when you reach out to me again. And it doesn't have to be because you ended on some giant, positive note. It can just be you didn't ghost, or you left it on good terms, or you want to leave the warm fuzzy. But yes, the first impression, I've been there though. I've been the flat commission, I got bills to pay, don't you understand, I actually am trying to help you salesperson. And I had a boss that used to call it commission breath. They can tell you're desperate, Wendy. And I'm like, because I am. But that was also the time when I really started learning that if I want them to talk to me, I have to make it about them first. So that doesn't mean it got any better. I obviously don't do that job anymore, but I learned, and it led me here very directly, actually. Yeah.
I've been on a couple of connecting calls lately, and I think yes, you are. I get off these, and there's only 2 incidents. I get off these calls, and I'm texting Wendy because Wendy is, she's a pro. She's the queen of networking, the queen of how to teach those deep connections, those relationships. And by the way, everybody that is listening, you cannot sell anybody without a relationship. So that being said, but anyways, there's a couple of these calls. I remember, I love getting curious. I could come on over here and let's go sit in the middle of Somerset Mall. And I just love watching people what do you think that they do? And what do you think? I just
Oh,
love people watching and getting really curious.
yeah.
When I network, I'm like, hey, what do you do? How are you? I mean, are you married? How many kids? What's going on? I want to know about people. And
Mhm.
I was on 2 calls recently, and both these women dominated the call. I
Mm,
said
mm.
nothing. And there's nothing worse when they start telling me what I need and you haven't even asked the flipping question.
Yes.
Drives me crazy that you're
Yes.
telling me I need A, B, and C. You haven't even asked what my challenges or my pain points are or my sufferings are or anything like that. And you're going to start doing solutions to my problems. Oy vey.
I actually have added an assessment to my coaching practice so I can get a snapshot. And it's not where you're strong and where you're weak, it's where you're more comfortable and less comfortable, because the assessment is 100% focused on those multiple networking landscapes. And part of that is not only learning about you, but it's learning how to recognize others and tone it down. That's because I have that person in me. I call her my peacock, right? The fluff your feathers, which is a thing for both of us. But I've learned to recognize that I get excited and I get passionate and I want to share. But if I'm running over the other person, I'm not getting what I want.
Mhm.
I am not going to get the results that I want, and I'm going to have to do damage control. So recognizing that part is just as much a part of learning networking in its sincere form, is not just yourself, but once again, we talked about that self-introduction, how you plug and play to read the room. Same thing with plugging and playing when you're reading the other person's responses.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's those are some beautiful, sincere conversations, quite frankly. That's
Mm-hmm.
the other word, the connections, conversations. Those are sincere conversations, and learning how to have those conversations. We're a society that, first of all, we are so uncomfortable with the power of pause,
Mm,
just pausing.
it
That
is hard.
silence we are so uncomfortable with. We are uncomfortable with going into a conversation going, oh my God, I got to keep this going and I got to talk and blah, and all. It's like going,
Mm-hmm.
whoa, hold on, time out,
Mm-hmm.
time out, time out.
Mm-hmm.
Society has pounded a lot of this stuff into our heads. So you said landscape.
Mm.
Talk to me about that networking landscape. Because I know you use the word landscaping a lot. So let's talk about the landscape.
I actually translated the skill of networking into 4 landscapes. So I call it the networking landscapes. And I built it off of the fact that in the professional world, we're very familiar with hunting and farming, right? The farming practice and sales and the hunting practice and sales. And I leaned into that because, frankly, it doesn't matter who you are, where you're born, anywhere in the world, you understand the concept of farming, of hunting. And yet, from the standpoint of networking, I have also created a foraging and a fishing landscape. And during my self introduction, I talked about the 4 different outcomes that people are seeking when they are networking, right? The quick reminder: the establish, maintain a relationship. That's a farming practice.
Mhm.
That's that repetitiveness. That's the resource. That's the value that you bring to others and people come to you for. The hunting that people are familiar with from a networking standpoint, hunters are patient people, but they're analytical, right? They want measured success. They want to know what's going to work, and they're the ones that are most likely to go to a networking event and say, that was a waste of my time, I didn't make a single sale. Well, you weren't supposed to. So the people who are stronger in that environment, they like a plan, and they like to be able to track their progress. So we lean into that. The foraging network is probably a new introduction to most people, and the people who are most strong in there, as that's one of my primaries, is that ability to go into a situation that is unfamiliar or new, and make the most of it. Find those opportunities, start those conversations, make those connections. So you are creating opportunities from what you're around. You're foraging, you're looking around, seeing what's here. You're just as excited by a coffee date as you are by a sales call as a result. And then the fishing landscape is really the team builder, the future driving person. It's that environment where you find those people who are going to mentor you, either intentionally or unintentionally. It's how you make yourself of value to those who are going to introduce you to the bigger rooms. So traditionally, they're not your clients, at least not to start. And basically that's what Kim is for me. She's one of those people. She unintentionally mentors me, but she actually makes me better, right? Those are the people that are going to make you better. And so when people say they're networking, sometimes that conflict comes from, well, what do you mean by networking? Well, what do you mean? Because they have different goals in mind. Mm-hmm. And each one of those goals has a little bit of a different technique to go to it. But I view it as it's not black and white, it's a Venn diagram. It's oil and water. It kind of moves depending on the situation that you're in. So that's why I talk about the skill of networking. Since it's a skill, it can be learned. But once it's learned in practice, it looks like art to those outside of it. And that's the art, that learning, the ebb and flow, the give, the take, the access, the opportunity, move now. That's the art, but it's a skill. Skills are learnable. So that's the landscapes. The networking landscapes is that full view of all of the benefits that come from being a master of this skill for long-term success. Current growth, firm foundation, new opportunities, bigger rooms. Mm-hmm. Did that translate well?
Yeah, that did. It makes, yeah, you laid it all out. It makes a lot of sense. And with that being said, go ahead and let us know what you have up your sleeve, Wendy, what you're launching.
Oh, I am launching my first group coaching program. Everything that I've done to this point has either been one-on-one or within a set office. So everybody's there with the same role. And I am launching Networking 101. It's called Success Beyond the Business Card, and it's a 16-week experiential group coaching program. So what does that mean? That means not only are you going to learn, you're going to practice. You're going to get an opportunity to try out those skills, become comfortable and confident with how well you introduce yourself, how you do those warm introductions, how you do those follow-up emails, how to have a conversation, how to find those opportunities. You are going to learn how to do those things so that when you are outside in the real world, or whatever you want to call it, you already know, you already feel that confidence. You already feel that center of, this is familiar, I can do it again. Layer it in on top of stuff. So, so there's that. And that begins at the end. Limiting the seats actually as well, because I want it to be intimate and valuable. But are we also talking about a something else that you and I have going on?
We are going to get to that as well. But before we do, if anybody wants any information from Wendy around that, just go into a private message on LinkedIn and reach out to her that way.
Yes.
And she can schedule a more in-depth call with you, or however you're going to do it to lay it all out and see if this is a great spot to be. I believe it is a great spot to be, because again, it's almost like we're infants or toddlers, and we're infants and we're learning how to walk again because of this whole pandemic thing that we went into. Everything dropped and flipped on a dime, so to speak. So if you are not already connected with Wendy here on LinkedIn, get connected. And then if you want any more information about her group coaching program that is coming up in April, right? April.
Yep. Right after Easter.
Right
after Easter.
Yep. So we can go through the holidays and get into our springness and get into some group coaching here. Just go in the back end of LinkedIn, and then you and I, which is not in front of my calendar. So you and I are hosting a 1-hour masterclass of Fluff Your Feathers, ladies.
Fluff your feathers.
Fluff your feathers. Walking into any room and owning any room on your terms, authentically, with your bold voice. So you're going to have a networking pro, and then you're going to have the business speaking pro. So you get us both for 1 hour. And that is April. I'm not in front of my calendar. April 5th.
5th.
Thank you. April 5th.
Yep, 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
That is, yeah, 2 weeks. Yes, you're right. 2 weeks.
Yeah.
April 5th. Yes.
It's
So
next
you
month.
will
Don't
start
worry.
putting it out on LinkedIn so you can see where to go to register and stuff.
Yes. And what I really love about that is, yes, I'm a connection coach. Yes, I'm a networking coach. I'm going to teach you how to, keep track of your business cards, proper follow up, self introductions, all of that nitty gritty. But a lot of it too is confidence coaching. I'm really finding that people underestimate their abilities because they're afraid of the no, or they're afraid that they want the sale, and if they pull the trigger, it's going to get to the end. Conversation this morning with a coaching client. She's, what do you do when things stall? And I said, sometimes you just got to call out the elephant in the room, because you've missed something and that will address it. Or that you don't need to keep beating your head against a brick wall because the door is closed.
Yeah.
Either way, you have an answer.
Yeah.
And I am so excited of the collaboration that we're doing, because that is something that I am really discovering. I mean, I don't know if it's just my age. I'm in my 40s now. I'm going to own it. I know who I am and I know what I bring to the table, but boy, do I wish I knew it 10 years earlier. So I love that I am in a position to not only teach valuable skills for that long-term success, but I can help somebody get where I wish I was 10 years ago faster.
I've said that multiple times, Wendy. We were not ready back then. We had some learning to do. We had some steps to take, some roads to travel, but we're here now today doing what we are doing. And I don't know about you. I have no regrets of everything that I've done. The mistakes, they've been opportunities of lessons to learn, and I'm still learning. And I love every minute of it. I love every minute of it. So one thing you just mentioned this, but we have not touched base on, and there's so much to touch base on here with the networking, but the meat and the money is in the follow-up. The follow-up. Oh my Lord. Do you know how many times? So pre-COVID, pre-quarantine, my whole business was in person.
Right. So was mine. Yeah. So was mine. Yeah. My other business. Yeah.
We went into quarantine. I just went, whoa, okay. It's the United States of America. We're not going to be here that long. And I did say those words, and I put my hands on the hips and tilted the crown when I said that. But boy, oh boy. But, do you know how many business cards? I mean, I would have someone come over, because I hate doing data entry. I paid someone to come here and sit down at my computer and enter every single business card and begin an email follow-up.
Okay.
The meat is in the follow-up. The money is in the relationship. The connections are in the follow-up. Do you agree? And do you teach a lot of that follow-up process?
I do agree. I do things differently. For me, the MailChimp emails are a great keep in touch process and lean a little bit more into marketing and sales. For me, I am a fan of the to do. So when you have a conversation with someone, part of the goal of the conversation is to leave this with something to do for the other person that they know about. Not the good old fashioned, thank you so much for your time yesterday. Here's a video or article I thought you would enjoy. You just assign them homework. We're busy. People are busy today. So if at the end of a conversation you have a to do for them, you're like, you know what? I'm going to find that answer. I'm going to make that warm email introduction. I'm going to do this for you without expectation of a return. And so I now have a reason to follow up with them, because if I did provide a warm email introduction between them and somebody else, I now have a perfectly logical excuse to say, how to go. I want to know how to go. Was it good? Was that not the right thing for you? So the to-dos build the relationship because you're bringing value to them that is tangible without expectation. Plus, they know it's coming. So it's not a surprise, and it's a reason for another contact. So that's how I, as a networker, encourage the to do. Networking is layers. It's layers.
Mm.
And that's where a lot of people run into frustrations. Is it, yes, it is a slower process, but it is a more firm foundation for long term, which is why I do not advocate people to stop selling or stop marketing. No, you need all three of them done in great proportion for that success. So do your sales, do your marketing, but add that layering of network, so you are creating those foundations. So 2 to 5 years down the road, you're not calling me going, I need help. I wish I'd been doing it the whole time. So yeah. Ta-da.
I love it. Yeah, I am a big proponent on that follow up. I really love doing the follow up, even if it's just an email saying, "Hey, it was great meeting you," and throwing in something personal that you did learn
Mhm.
about that person. There's so many tricks to the networking that you can do. I'm very different.
See,
Well, I
I
can
don't call them
remember
tricks, they're tweaks.
tweaks. Oh,
Yes, because that actually is a pet peeve of mine. I don't want people using my skills to trick people into a sale.
oh,
Yes, it's a
no,
tweak.
the tweak.
It's a
I like
tweak.
that. I like that a lot.
Mhm.
Is there a specific personality that excels better at networking than others?
No, because each landscape has its own strengths and weaknesses. But the ones that are flashiest are your foragers. They're the peacock fluffers, the feather fluffers. They're the ones that look like social butterflies. They're the ones that are out and about. But your farmers are your relationship builders. They're usually a little bit more introvert. They're going to ask questions, but they're that reliable resource.
Yeah.
So there really isn't one or the other. You need the fishing because, you want to grow. You want bigger networks and bigger client bases and bigger everythings, and that's how you do it. And sometimes, you and I know this after years of experience, sometimes you need to make that plan so you can look back and go, dang, I'm good. Look at what I've done. You've tracked the progress. So your foragers are your social butterflies, flashy. You probably notice them first, or that one that's working the room and you think, I need to know that person. You're not noticing so much your farmers, but your farmers are that dedicated person who's always there. And then your hunters are probably the ones looking around the room because they want to be as effective as possible in the least amount of time. I don't have time for you. They're looking for other people. So no one is better, but one is more flashier.
I like that. I like that a lot. And by the way, I hear a lot of people, and this is just not just with networking, Wendy. I hear this with also speaking as well. I'm an introvert and I cannot do that. Well, okay, first of all, I call BS on that one. I call
Right.
BS because the most effective networkers and keynote speakers are introverts.
Yep.
It's knowing how to care for yourself. It's called pre-stage rituals before you go into a networking event or before you walk up onto any stage, and then how you're caring for yourself afterwards as well.
That's funny because my pre-stage ritual is I have. So those got played. That my pump up songs got played before I logged on with you. That's my pre-stage ritual. Yes. No, actually, introverts are ideal networkers because they like to listen,
Mhm.
and which means that they can just ask a question of somebody else and listen to the answer. They don't have to try to create a situation. But here's the other thing that a lot of introverts that I coach really like is if they are in a situation where somebody like me is so excited to meet them and I'm asking all these questions, guess what? I'm asking those questions because I want to answer them too.
Yeah.
So if you're an introvert and you're not sure what to do, mirror the question back. If I'm like, so what are you doing this weekend? You tell me, and then you ask me, what are you doing this weekend? Oh my gosh, I'm going to a concert. I'm so excited. So most of the time when people ask questions, it's because they want to answer them too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you are an introvert and you are in a situation where someone more extrovert is connected with you, you're still in control. You don't even have to think about a question. They're going to tell it to you and you're going to answer.
Yeah, I love it. And that's a really nice, good little skill to learn as well, is just mirror back to what people are asking you. I love it. I love it. All right. This is okay. Wait, final words here as we are going to wrap this up because
Okay.
you and I can go on for a couple of hours, big
We
time.
love each other. Hmm.
We do. And we're going to go on for another hour or two tonight. And by the way, I'm looking at everyone logging in and making comments. We've got the Detroit, Michigan group going on here today. Woo, woo.
That's right.
So any last words besides connecting with you on LinkedIn and
Mm,
your group coaching program that you're launching? Any last words around the networking that you would
yep.
like to leave everyone listening? And then I have one final question for you.
Okay. Say yes, give generously, and be patient. If you don't say yes to the opportunity, you're not going to find the value.
Mhm. Say that again one more time.
Say yes, give generously, and be patient.
I love that.
Those are the keys. Those are the keys. And the be patient part, not everybody's where you are. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to the no's. A lot of people are hearing no's. Timing is divine, and sometimes it's just timing is off for that person that is saying no. So, yes, I love those three beautiful insights to
Mhm.
gosh, life. I mean, not just
Like,
networking, life to life. Say
yeah,
yes to the opportunities, give generously and be.
be patient.
I know I sweat when I say those words, be patient.
I know I'm not good at it either.
No,
It's like we
I'm
coach ourselves.
I am practicing. Anyways, all right. So this show is your bold voice. So Wendy, what is that one boldness in your voice that's still hanging out there that you'd like to share with everybody that you are still practicing and journeying with?
Oh, so this is a challenge that I deal with. Is that the question? Like a challenge that I still have to fight to overcome? Okay, I should have thought about something. Um, I still struggle with I don't know, recognizing my own value. I know that's a weird thing to say, but uh I know my failures. I know the things that have gone wrong in my life. I know the rejections I faced, and those don't go away. That's the hag in the attic. They're sitting back there just reminding you the last time you jumped off a cliff, you landed on your face. So you're going to do it again? And the honest answer is yeah, I am. But but the lingering fear is always there that everything you're building is seconds away from collapse, so that can cause paralysis. And actually the greatest antidote to that for me, and dates back to when the lockdowns went into place. I charged forward, not because I was leading the way, but because I didn't want to feel powerless. And that power sucker is always right there behind me, right, reminding me that you are at any moment powerless. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to run away from you. I'm going to charge forward.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful way to put that, Wendy, charging forward. Because for those of us that did take those steps, whether you paused when we went into
Mhm.
the lockdown, whether you paused, whether you had a meltdown like I did, but the fact that we got back up and charged forward, we walked forward, we moved forward, we embraced what was going on. I mean,
Yeah.
I personally had to rebrand my whole business. I took a minute and rebranded all. We all have gone through something, loss, whatever. It is part of life, but the ones that have move forward, charge forward, are here still standing up
Yes.
today. So I thank you so much. Oh, so much networking, so many great reminders for me personally to up my game, because we are coming back into in person of networking, and we'll also
Yeah.
still doing things online. We need to be prepared when we are walking into any situation to
Yes.
how to network. So reach out to Wendy. If you have any questions or anything in the stream here, Wendy and I will both swing back around within 24 to 48 hours um, of uh, of answering comments and things like that. So let's just keep moving
Keep
forward.
moving forward.
Keep moving forward, one foot in front of the other, one
Oops.
step at a time. Oh, yeah.
My tattoo, KMF. Keep moving forward.
Moving forward, yes. So, everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, next week is the last episode of season 4 of Your Bold Voice with Dr. Geneva Williams. We had some tech issues when she was on. So, we are going to magically resolve the tech issues. That's all I'm going to say. And if you're having any challenges or struggles of networking, please reach out to Wendy. And Wendy, I'm going to see you in a couple hours for food. Yay!
Dinner. I know.
So thank you for joining me and get
Thank
connected.
you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. I'll see you right here, same place, same time next week. Take care.